It speaks when you wake up. It comments while you work. It analyzes your conversations long after they end. It predicts disasters that never arrive. You call it thinking, but what if thinking is not what you believe it is? When you think, you are listening. The real question is, who is speaking? And even more importantly, who is hearing? And most people move through life assuming that the voice in their head is their identity. It narrates their story, it judges their choices, it reminds them of past mistakes and warns them about imagined futures. It feels intimate, personal, inseparable. Yet something extraordinary is hiding in plain sight. If you can hear the voice, if you can notice it, then it cannot be you. There must be something else present, something aware, something silent. That silent presence is the part of you rarely acknowledged. It does not argue, it does not rush, it does not rehearse conversations at 2 a.m. It simply observes. And most people never discover it because they are too entangled in the noise. The mind is a brilliant tool. It evolved to calculate risk, anticipate danger, and plan survival. In many ways, it is a masterpiece of biological engineering. But somewhere along the way, the tool became the master. Instead of serving you, it runs endlessly. Analyzing, replaying, predicting, judging. It does not know how to stop. And because it never stops, you begin to believe its activity is reality. Imagine standing beside a river. Leaves drift across the surface, carried effortlessly by the current. Now imagine mistaking the leaves for the river itself. Thoughts are like those leaves. They move, they shift, they dissolve. But you are not the leaves. You are the riverbed, the silent depth beneath the movement. The problem is not that thoughts exist. Thoughts are natural. The problem begins when you fuse with them, when every internal sentence feels like truth. A single passing thought becomes a belief becomes fear becomes identity. And just like that, a simple mental ripple becomes a life pattern. But here is the turning point. The moment you recognize that thoughts are events in awareness, not definitions of who you are, space appears. In that space, something changes. Instead of being pulled into every mental storm, you begin to witness it. And witnessing is power. Consider how often the mind replays pain, an argument from years ago, an embarrassing moment, a betrayal. The original event may have lasted minutes, but the mind reanimates it endlessly. Each replay triggers the same emotional chemistry, as if the moment were happening again. The body tightens, the heart rate shifts, stress hormones activate. The event is gone, but the reaction lives on, sustained by repetition. This is how emotional weight accumulates. Emotions themselves are not the enemy. They are movement. They are waves of energy designed to rise and fall. But when resisted, suppressed, or clung to, they stagnate. Think of an ocean wave. It builds, crests, and dissolves back into the sea. If you try to freeze it midair, chaos would follow. Yet that is what the mind attempts with emotion. It traps it through rumination. Letting go is not denial. It is not forgetting. It is allowing the wave to complete its motion. Right now, if you pause, you may notice something subtle. Beneath every thought and emotion, there is stillness. It has always been there. You may not have recognized it because your attention was fixed on the surface activity, but beneath the surface, the water is calm. The mind fears this calm. Why? Because calm feels like loss of control. Control is another illusion carefully maintained by the thinking mind. It creates plans, scenarios, backup strategies. It convinces you that if you think hard enough, rehearse enough, anticipate enough, you can secure the future. But life rarely unfolds according to script. Conversations surprise you. Plans shift, circumstances evolve beyond prediction. The tighter you grip, the more anxiety you generate. Control promises safety, but often delivers tension. Imagine holding sand in your palm. Squeeze tightly, and it slips away faster. Loosen your grip, and more remains. Life responds similarly. This does not mean abandoning responsibility. It means acting where action is possible and releasing the demand to orchestrate outcomes. Trust is not passive. Trust is strength without tension. When you release the illusion of total control, something remarkable happens. Energy previously consumed by resistance becomes available for presence. Presence is not a mystical concept. It is simple awareness of what is happening now, without the mental overlay of commentary. The sound of air moving in and out of your lungs. The sensation of your feet touching the ground. The subtle hum of the environment around you. These experiences are always available. But the voice in the head is loud, persistent, convincing. It thrives on attention, and attention is choice. The more you feed the voice unquestioned belief, the stronger it becomes. The more you observe it neutrally, the less authority it holds. You are not required to silence it. Silencing the mind is not the goal. Understanding it is. Picture yourself sitting in a theater. On the screen, scenes of your life unfold. Successes, failures, memories, imagined futures. For years, you believed you were the character on the screen. But what if you are the one sitting in the seat? The screen changes constantly. The watcher remains. This shift, from character to witness, is subtle but transformative. From this perspective, even intense emotion becomes navigable. Anger arises, you notice it. Sadness surfaces, you feel it. Fear appears, you acknowledge it, but you no longer become it. Emotions lose their destructive power when they are allowed instead of resisted. There is profound strength in saying internally, "This is here right now," without judgment, without suppression. The body processes what the mind releases, and gradually lightness returns. Many people construct emotional armor over time, walls built from disappointment, guardrails formed from betrayal, protective distance designed to prevent future hurt. But protection can become imprisonment. An open heart is not reckless, it is courageous. To remain open despite uncertainty is one of the most powerful human capacities. Vulnerability is not fragility, it is authenticity without defense. When the heart is open, connection flows more freely, not only with others, but with life itself. And life only happens in one place, now. Not in yesterday's memory, not in tomorrow's projection. Now. The present moment is often overlooked because it feels ordinary, but it is the only place peace can exist. You cannot experience peace in an imagined future. You cannot find clarity in a replayed past. Peace is always immediate. It is accessed through attention. Pause. Breathe slowly. Notice the space between thoughts. In that space, there is no problem to solve. No identity to defend, no future to manage. There is simply awareness. This awareness is what you are beneath every role, every memory, every plan. Freedom is not the absence of difficulty. Storms will still come. Loss will still occur. Challenges will still arise. Freedom is inner non-resistance. It is standing in the storm while remaining centered. Wind may howl, rain may fall, but at the core, there is stillness untouched by weather. That stillness is not something you create. It is something you uncover. It has been present since before your first memory. It was there when you were a child. It is here now. And it will remain long after individual thoughts fade. You are not the restless narration. You are the silent awareness hearing it. You are not the emotional waves. You are the depth beneath them. You are not the need to control outcomes. You are the presence capable of responding to whatever unfolds. When the mind begins racing again, and it will, pause. Feel your breath. Watch the thoughts move like clouds across an open sky. Let emotions rise and fall naturally. Act where you can. Release what you cannot shape. Choose openness over fear. Trust over tension. Presence over projection. Everything you seek, clarity, calm, freedom, is not something to acquire. It is something to remember. The voice may continue speaking, but now you know it is only a voice, and you are the one who hears it. Beyond the noise, beyond the commentary, beyond the endless narrative, there is you, silent, aware, free. It was about remembering who you are beyond it, beyond the narration, beyond the tension, beyond the endless attempt to manage every detail of existence. There is a profound simplicity at the core of your being. You have tasted it in quiet moments, perhaps while watching the horizon at dusk, or lying awake before sleep when the world briefly softened. In those moments, there was no problem to solve, no identity to defend, no future to secure. There was just awareness. That awareness is not something you create. It does not depend on circumstances aligning perfectly. It does not disappear when thoughts become loud. It is constant. What changes is your attention. When attention fuses with thought, you feel contracted, small, urgent, reactive. When attention rests in awareness itself, you feel spacious, grounded, clear. This is the subtle art of living as the observer. It is not detachment in the cold sense. It is not indifference. In fact, it allows you to feel more deeply than before. But feelings are no longer threats. They are movements within a larger field of stability. Imagine standing at the edge of the ocean. Waves crash loudly against the shore. Some are gentle, some are powerful. Yet the depth of the ocean remains steady beneath the surface turbulence.